Today, I would like to talk about one of the common things that is seen probably across the globe, but we've seen it a lot more probably happening at home in India. So, within the corporate culture and people who do jobs, this has been especially been noticed about people who do jobs. So, when people are doing a job, of course, the mindset why they wanted to take a job, one can understand. There is a safety, there is no risk. You go, you prove your ability, you prove your credentials. Somebody gives you a task, they give you a set of uh, tasks to do, agenda, key result areas, key performance areas, everything is detailed, and so you work accordingly and you deliver and you work. And it will not be wrong to say that if a person is doing his job and is delivering, he's doing a good job. He's not doing anything wrong. But when I observed these people and I noticed one thing, and what caught my attention was when I found a discussion which I overheard traveling in a train and sometime at the lunch hour at office or some other people employees discussing. People like to play games and feel the victory or sense of victory that they have grabbed or they won. The discussion would be about how they manage to hoodwink the management and not do the work, but they get paid for it. Interesting conversation. Other people about how they refused the management of saying that I'll not do this, this is not my work. Or they delayed things saying that, my time was over, I left there. I waited till my time got over and I left so that I don't have to do this today. Tomorrow somebody else may do it. I can understand that these things become small victories, sense of achievement, sense of managing to outwit people. It gives you a dopamine fix. It gives you a feeling that you've been better than the others, you've been smarter than the others. Probably this could be a good practice if that was going to be a career. You were going to make a living out of doing this and applying it more places and improving your net income by doing this. But sadly, it cannot be done, it cannot be scaled up. This is the small victories like winning a game of Ludo, which will just make you smile and happy and say, oh, wow, I won. And it's got nothing else, it's got nothing else. But what happens in the reverse? Meaning that in doing this, what is happening to you as a person? We take very little responsibility or we have little cognizance of the fact that whatever we do, the things we practice, we listen, and we start believing, those things make us. We discussed this earlier where how your childhood has gone and filled you with perceptions and things which have made up your mind and created those filters and channels and routes where all your thought process is getting through that and therefore it is contaminated. So nothing of the pure thought that you are hearing is going through because there is a filter in between which is managing to contaminate it, twist it, turn it, and beat it out of shape properly. So then, when you're doing things, you need to realize that whenever I do whatever I do, good or bad, is becoming part of me. Doing it more often, very often, it will become a habit, and doing it very often and more often, you become an expert at that. You develop muscle memory to do that. I don't mean the real physical muscle, but your social or emotional or intellectual muscle memory is developed. So you are prone to doing those things that way because it's become part of you. We'll come to that later. There is one question I like to ask whenever I interview people for any kind of work at when I was working or when I had my own office, and when I meet people also now, I try to chat with them. I ask them a question. So people who would come to me for a job and I'm talking to them, I would ask them a question. So are you looking for a job or a career? Now, a lot of people do not know the difference between that. Not because they are stupid or idiots or anything. It just never came up and never thought about it. And people keep on thinking that both the words actually mean the same thing. A career is a job. Your job is your career. So isn't it? And that is the simplicity, and the words can be exchanged with each other, people think, and that's how they believe in it. And that's what the reply I would get a lot of times. And then when I would tell them that, do you know the difference between job and career, if they did not say anything, or even if whatever reply they gave and it was something else, then I would explain to them that the difference between job and career is a job is a task which you go out and you do. That it is called a job work, a job work numbers. So you do a task and you get paid for it. So when you do a job, essentially what you're doing is you're trading your hours, working hours, day hours. Maybe it would be a night job, then it could be night hours. But you're trading your hours. You are giving 8 hours from your day to do certain task which certain organization has promised you that you will get paid if you do this task for 8 hours or whatever number of hours in a day. So actually when you think you're doing a job, actually what you're doing is trading. You are trading your hours, you're trading your efforts, maybe physical, maybe some of it is mental, some of it requires your education, learning what you've done, certain skills that you have picked up. And that is what you're trading for the money that you receive. So one thing is very clear, that the amount of money you receive is for the work that you put in. Somebody has assessed you, created a number for it, asked you, you agreed to it. Now comes the interesting part. The game starts. The game starts where obviously the person who's accepted the job now is not really interested in earning that same amount. He wants more. And within a few months, the disillusion starts coming in. So since they cannot say agree to an amount and they cannot increase it or demand an increase or do something to increase it immediately, one starts saying that I will not give more than what I'm getting paid for, which means I'll not work for more than what they are paying me for, because they refuse to pay me more. You forget that you have accepted that amount, but you want to get paid more. Probably a colleague of yours is getting paid more, and you think that he is as good or as bad as you. So due to that, then this transactional relationship with your employer, you have started now counting your minutes and your hours and your effort against what you're receiving. Fair enough. People would say that is nothing wrong. Since he's paying me X amount, I'll give him only Y amount over, which is equal to X. So X is equal to Y. Good. Fair deal. The problem which I see in this is that at some point while doing this transaction or thinking like a transactional job, you have forgotten that actually you are never, please Listen to this very carefully. You in a job is never working for anybody but yourself. You are never working for anybody but yourself. And how does that happen? So the day you start realizing that I am not working here because they're going to pay me X amount of money. I have an opportunity to be in that organization, to be in one system where there are people who are earning much better than me, much higher than me, taking more responsibilities, so therefore getting more money, delivering better, so they're getting more money. And I am somehow placed inside that system. And I'm in some sort of a queue where I can also get ahead. There are not many barriers in front of me if I want to start looking at them. This is the mindset which once you adopt and you stop seeing your job. Now, one of the tragedies of that is that suddenly your game is over. You say, oh, now what? How do I win? If I don't do the work and pass it on and tell them ho gaya, or if I, leave early and don't do the work, or make an excuse, I'm busy, I can't take more work. How will I win? But that is where the problem is. That now when you think that you are working for yourself, apply it to all the times where you said, I don't have the time. I cannot do this work. I will not do more. Why should I do more? You're not paying me more. Now, when you apply it and say, I'm working for myself, as if you are the boss of the company or the boss of the division or the boss, at least of that work, how does it sound? Telling yourself that I won't do this. That mindset, once you inculcate, then you start seeing things differently. You will not be made a manager if you do not behave like a manager. The first thing you have to do if you want to become a manager or a general manager or president or whichever is the highest post, right up to the CEO, nobody is going to hire you for a position if you do not look like you can handle the position. You cannot demand that the day you give me the job, I will act like that, because they have no way of knowing that you can do that. Even if you had a degree and everything, your work experience is counted. Where did you work? When did you work? So even you might have come out of an MBA college. Certain amount of internships and other work that is always you have to put in. And if nothing else, even if you get appointed as the CEO of the company, you will have to deliver. Will you, as a CEO of the company, try to shirk work and say, I can't do this now, let me do it tomorrow. Why should I do it? They're not paying me more. I'm whatever they're paying me, that I don't want to do this work. They already committed to paying me, so all I have to do is show up for 30 days and my payment will come. You can't do that, because now when you'll be the CEO, the buck stops at you. And you are going to be responsible for the well-being of the company, for progress, for development, for profits, for the employees. You are responsible. Now what happens, imagine if you, as for in your whatever position you are in, stop thinking like you're in a job and you start thinking like a CEO or any other higher position that you like to. I would like to say you should behave like a CEO, not just the next position. The next position automatically also becomes your responsibility. So what happens is that when you will submit your work, your file, whatever work you're doing, you will check it like the manager is going to check it. You are going to put effort to make sure that what you deliver will be so good, will be so perfect, and nobody is going to mind it. Nobody is going to point any fingers in it and say it's not good enough. The day they start seeing you as proficient, as good, and as efficient as a manager, is the day then they start maybe considering you to be a manager. So there are only few ways where you can go on the top. One is where you start behaving the role you want to get, the position you want to go in, which also includes getting higher salary, but the responsibilities also go up. But if you don't show that you can take responsibility today, how can somebody give you responsibility tomorrow? The catch 22 situation is you have made up your mind that when you give me the position, I'll do the work because then that money will come. Till you don't give me the position, I'll not do that work because the money is not there. This is the catch 22 situation where you are stuck. And you may be stuck for a long time. And frustration will set in because you'll keep saying that why am I not getting promoted? Why I have to suffer? So first will come your effort, first will come your demeanor, your actions, which will literally, believe me, literally force people to start looking at you like that. Now, two things can happen. Once they'll see and they'll say, oh, wow, next time or next year appraisals, we are going to push you up, man. You're good. You did very well. Good. Mission accomplished. Second thing, probably the thought crossed your mind, I know. Probably you say, no, yeah, they are not, they are stupid, yeah, they don't know. वो नहीं करने वाले. Even if I do the best, no, they will. Doesn't matter. We discussed some time back, few minutes ago, how when you do something consistently, regularly, it becomes part of your personality. From the habit, it becomes a personality. Whenever you are doing this, irrespective of whether somebody is going to notice, not notice, even if you are skeptical about anybody giving you the returns for that or not, you're doing it is to improve your personality, your character, your intellectual muscle memory. Once it becomes a habit for you to excel and do everything with full awareness and wanting to do it at the best, irrespective of the results, even if your own company doesn't notice it, the next company where you go to give your interview, they will notice it. They are looking for good people, and if you can demonstrate to them, they will be able to see it clearly. So it's not going to go to a waste. There's another way to look at it, very interesting way. When you're working for a salary. Tell yourself that once I'm getting into this mode of working for myself and I'm going to put all my effort doing the best possible thing I can do. There are two checks being made for me. One check is this company going to give it to me. One payment, they'll give it to me on the first of the month or whichever day is salary. But there's another check being written for me, which I can't encash today. But for the reason that I am upgrading myself, I am doing good, I am making sure that I perform for myself, not because somebody else is going to notice or not notice. You do not have to dance because there is an audience. You have to dance because you're joyful. Dancing is not about showing people how well you can dance. It's about making your soul believe that you're happy. And it is the soul's way of telling you that we are happy, you and me. And they dance and you dance. Here the dance metaphor is performance. You perform irrespective. Who notices, doesn't notice, it doesn't. Because what you are doing is training yourself, improving yourself, wanting to deliver yourself to a better position, irrespective of who notices it. Somebody will notice it. So in the next company when you're sitting and they look at whatever you have to say and whatever you do and show it to them, whatever the processes you have learned and excelled in and you are speaking about it in the interview and they understand it, saying, okay, this guy knows his stuff, he's talking about it. And they offer you 40 or 50% more than your salary. That 50% is the check that was being written for you and kept every time you were doing excellent at work and excelling at work and making it a habit of doing good work. That is your incentive for doing the good work. It's not your immediate boss or your immediate company which is going to pay you, but your check is being made. Now, if you are just interested in, okay, what I'm getting today, I must give that. That is a zero-sum game. The zero-sum game means ultimately you'll reach at zero because of that. Because irrespective of how long you spend in the company will notice that you are a shelper. You're not really, and you're not excelling. You're not giving your 100, 200%, and you're not taking on extra responsibilities and things like that. They might start bypassing you for promotions. Your appraisals, your increments may not look that good. There will be a fresh blood coming in. There will be new people coming in, new people with new energy coming in, and you will find that there are people overtaking you in promotions, increments. You cannot blame anybody at that time but yourself. The only person you can blame is yourself. Because you remained in the transaction mode, you are not a vyapari. You are not a dukandar. You are not a kiranewala. You are not going to give 1 kg potato because that guy paid you 1 kg for potato. You are going to be that business which will give an extra chocolate to the customer, saying you shopped here for so and so time or so and so amount. I am grateful for your business. I'm happy about your business. Here is something extra. What happens to a person like that who is giving away small gestures like that with his regular customers? He's making sure the customer will always be there for it. That's a very good way of retaining your customer at the cost of that is not very high. It's a minuscule cost compared to the intangible benefits that you get, meaning that person may skip 3 more shops or make sure that they come here, and they'll probably mention it to someone else. So that intangible benefit is that he is that shopkeeper at that time, by giving good service and all that, he is writing a check for himself which he can encash later, which will be in cash later without his knowledge. So though he's giving exactly to the extent of what he's getting the money, but the service he puts in, the ambience he gives, this home delivery probably, or better bags to carry, and maybe a helper to put the bags in the transport. All those things count. You feel good about going to a place. Similarly, don't become a baniya where you're going to say, okay, 5 rupees was given, I'll give goods worth 5 rupees. Even the baniya should not do that. It's not a good business practice. He should do something extra. Better shop, cleanliness, smile, extra effort, good stocking so that nobody goes back. A lot of those effort is put in by him. But you have made up your mind to become like, I will only give how much I'm getting, so I will not do that. Now, that is not going to damage anybody but yourself. Think about it and look at your friends who speak like that, and look at the people who have done that. I've seen those people for more than decades. Ultimately, they were the only losers. They did not reach anywhere. That company made profits. That company grew. The company knew how to grow. They made sure that they get the right people and they separate the chaff from the wheat. And they went because their motto and this business ideals was something else, and they followed that. And you were a cog in the wheel. You had to become the gear. You had to go into a position of power, which would give you more money, more responsibilities, and therefore more status. And that is what ultimately you were after. But you wanted it without really putting in the effort for it. So besides improving yourself by really doing very well at whatever task has been given to you, The second most important thing that people should do is skill and upgrade. Update, upgrade, skill up, improve your craft. What is happening with the world is that technology is changing, new things are coming, new processes are coming, people are coming, finding new ways to do businesses. And so the world is now in a perpetual disruption. You've got to remain ahead of the times. You have got to feel that what is happening and understand it. So, besides doing what you do regularly, if you are aware of how new technology is coming, like for example, that think of that cusp when computers started coming to offices. And then there were suddenly those people who looked at it and started saying that he's going to take my job. This computer is going to make me redundant. They did not think of it as an ally and said, okay, I'm going to learn this and I'm going to start using that and I'll become better. They tried to resist and then they became redundant and people lost jobs. People didn't lose jobs to computers. People lost jobs because they refused to upgrade themselves. Please do not blame the computers. Please do not blame the technology. Businesses will change, systems will change. If you do not change, a lot of people say, but I did not do anything wrong. Why do I deserve this? Think of it like that. The whole world is in perpetual motion. Perpetual motion can be understand like everybody's on a treadmill. So you have to keep running on a treadmill even though you're not going anywhere. But if you stop running, you're going to fall flat. So running is mandatory just to stay in one place. That is something you need to understand. And once you get that and you start training yourself with that, a lot of things will start happening for you. So remember this, you do not work for anybody but for yourself. Upgrade yourself, upskill yourself, learn whatever new technologies are coming, processes are coming, business processes are coming. Keep a ear to the ground or to the internet or also in your office. Try to find out what people are thinking about, what their seniors are talking about. Every time that they're making you work harder, probably there is an ulterior motive that they want to make you work extra hours and not pay you overtime. Fine. But you have to think that is this hours that I'm putting extra, what am I losing and how much am I losing in this? That is not in terms of the money. So your number of hours have got you are defining it as that I should be getting paid X amount for per hour if you look at that minimum wage thing. But like I said, there is an X check being made for you. So whenever you put effort where you do not see the returns coming in, remember there is a check being made for you. And that check can be of a fantastic amount. Till now we only discussed about how you might get a better job, a better promotion. We have not discussed that where you will get the hang of the business to such an extent where you may have your own business. You will be able to. That option should never be ruled out. Just because you're scared, how can I have a business? Today's world, entrepreneurs, startups, there are sufficient people looking for people with ideas and experience who wants to partner with you and probably do the same business. So your expertise is always going to be getting you returns. But if you're going to demand that till the time I don't see the proof of that, I will not do it. Nobody will bring you the proof, and the only person who will be in loss because of the proof not coming is you. But you will feel happy that, oh, nobody brought the proof, so see, I am so smart. But there were people who moved without that proof because they were passionate, because they were driven, and they have gone far ahead. And you have been sitting feeling very happy that, oh, nobody gave me the proof, so I did not do anything. But you are the net loser. Change your mind, change your fortune.